So these GM mounts really needed to be changed. These are the engine mounts, the motor mounts. This one here, there's a big split, crack down the metal there. But the bigger problem with it is that you see this side here is recessed and this side is raised. So I'll turn it to a side here. So the rubber has compressed where it's not in alignment. Now, I originally thought one of these was missing the bolt that goes here, but it turns out both of them were missing a bolt. So they only had one bolt in each side. And then this one looks pretty good here. It's like height-wise and rubber-wise, but something has caused a lot of stress to it that the metal is just cracked and broken away. It's broken this way, there's a break there, and then this whole side has broken off. So I don't know what kind of a strange load that would be that would do that, but this was the side that was missing the bolt. So, oh, and this one was just finger tight too, so that's really been loose in there. Obviously the whole motor was moving around. He had a lot of clutch chatter, but that was making the whole engine move too, because they were missing bolts and loose bolts and bad rubber. So I've got it jacked up now. I didn't pull the studs out on this one because I had the transmission off. This is the easiest way to do it. And I'll just get the new one slid back in there. Get the new engine mounts on, and then get the flywheel back on today. The clutch is supposed to come in today. All right, so I got it jacked up here, and I'm gonna put the new mounts in. And I'll lower it back down somewhat, and then get it ready to go. Use a finger if it comes down. So on the bottom side of this mount where it goes into the motor mount, there's a tapered cone, so it helps you with the alignment. So you can get it pretty close, and then as the cone comes in, it'll center it up. But I still use like a drift pin when I was lowering it down to keep things pretty close to being centered, so these should go in. Both of these, again, were missing one of these complete setups, and this one was just finger loose, and so one motor mount was actually tight. One thing I want to talk about is when you go to put that flywheel back on, there is a correct direction that it goes. The holes are not perfectly centered with these two dowels. So I've done it before where I've gone through all the trouble of getting the flywheel up in there and get it on, get it hanging on these two dowels, and then your bolt holes don't line up. So just to show you, what am I doing? So there, everything lines up. This is the, but if I turn it over 180 degrees, you can go through all the trouble of getting the flywheel to hang on there, and then you'll see that the bolt holes don't line up. So you can't possibly put it on wrong, but you can get it hung on the dowels and go through all the effort, wasted energy of doing that. So I'm gonna know now that I'm not gonna spin my crankshaft here. Pay attention to what you're doing. And then I'll mark this here, that this is the top of the engine. And then when this is on my flywheel and I go to hang the flywheel on, I'll know which way it goes. Just gonna knock in this pilot bearing. Which way? Okay, which way's the top? This is the top here, and that'll be the correct way. Okay, ready?
This way?
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
These don't really move.
So this is the flywheel going back into 1957 PD 4104 that's known as the Cool Cruiser. And as you can see, it's very heavy, but it's ready to get lined up now.
Hold on, my fingers there. Watch your fingers.
Hooray! It's in there.
It's almost where it needs to be.
Almost. But the worst part's over.
It's not quite lined up though. That sucks.
Where's the...
This is the top, so
Okay.
I gotta clock it just a little bit here.
So now we have to line it up with the dowel pins.
Stop.
That good?
That's,
Go back.
hang on a second. Where's my... Okay, stop.
Stop.
Yep.
It doesn't want to go. I see the hole right there. She's right there.
Okay, so we're gonna put the flywheel on. We've got all new flywheel bolts. You never want to reuse these bolts. And you want to make sure that you use international compound number 2, known as peanut butter. It's sold by Detroit Diesel, and it is a thread lubricant that you lubricate the threads with. That's all part of the torquing procedure. And the last one didn't have these. Whoops. Look at that.
And for the record, please note, and you can get a video of me, that Frank is holding on his own flywheel. The old man is holding on the flywheel.
It's a pretty heavy flywheel too. It weighs more than Frank.
Yeah, the flywheel weighs more than I do. That's neat.
And just quickly pointing out the procedure for the flywheel bolts, where you use the international compound number 2 on them. And then when you torque them, you go to 50 pounds, number 10 there, go to 50 pounds. And then once they're all at 50 pounds, then you turn them an additional 90 degrees to 120 degrees. So, 90 degrees, which would be straight across there, and then 120. So I mark them, which the paint's kind of running, but I mark them when I start, just so I know, I have a reference. And then I can go the 90 degrees from there. So Frank has a pry bar stuck between the teeth and the bell housing here that's going to stop the flywheel from spinning, because otherwise I don't want to turn the crankshaft over when I'm tightening here.
Frank's over here. Hello again.
When the clutch disc goes on, you see it is marked for us flywheel side. So this surface here is going to go up into there. So I'm going to lay it on this board and then get the bottom lip up in there, raise it up, and then we'll lift it and center it with some pry bars.
He's a half a free-hose guy.
Once you have the clutch installed, you can now remove, there's 3 bolts here, 1, 2, and 3. Those are holding the tension. So otherwise when you were screwing it on, you'd have been going against the springs on it and it would just be too hard and to line everything up and do it. So that's what those do. So you just take these out. So using a straight edge across the top of the clutch housing here, this is a 4104. The clutch is 1 3/8 that the height needs to be from the straight edge here to the top of that finger right there. I need to adjust for the 1 inch of my thickness of my straight edge. So 2 3/8. This is going to get me from the top. So I will need to bring that finger up until it touches where I have that there, and then that will be 1 3/8. 1, 2, 3/8, correct, 1 3/8 from the top of this housing to the finger. So not including, don't count the rivets, it's from the flat part here. And you got to get these all in sync here, and this is the best way to do it. So they're considerably far off right now, and we'll just dial them in with the adjustment here. Come down. Right there, zoom in there. Feels like it hit right there.